Greeting everyone. My name is Gary Sequeira and I'm here to carry out a presentation on my consultancy project, which is the architectural coating market overview and the impact of sustainability in the paint industry in the United Arab Emirates. So in this presentation, I'll be covering the introduction and the purpose of this project, which will give a brief background on the company along with the consulting problem. The background of the project will be covered, which consists of the opportunities and challenges faced by the company that I'll be consulting, and by myself as a consultant. This will be followed by the methodology on how I will go about in gathering the data and how I will be interacting with the clients. This will then be followed by the findings and results based on the research carried out, and finally my recommendations and conclusions. So first off, here's a little bit about the company. The company that I am consulting is known as Dow Chemical. Dow is a streamlined and focused material science company that was formed as a spin-off from Dow DuPont. Dow's performance material and coating division cater to architectural coating paints. And architectural coating paints are paints that are used to paint all homes and buildings, be it externally and internally. So these paints are usually specifically designed for a specific purpose, such as wall paints, roof coatings, etc. Architectural coating paints provides a decorative, durable, and protective function when applied. Binders are the chemicals that form the film-forming components of paints. The paint pigment is carried by them and is then dried or cured, holding the paint in its place. The binder is one of the most important elements in a coating. It is also responsible for physical properties such as durability, adhesion, flexibility, gloss, etc. Additives, on the other hand, provide extra desirable paint characteristics. Rheology modifiers and thickeners control the flow and leveling of paint, while dispersant additives bring out the stability and compatibility. Now, Dow faces a challenge in the architectural coating industry. They say that they are market leaders based on their knowledge on customer interaction and based on a few external reports. But these external reports are not consistent and credible. In the case of UAE, there is no such credible reports. Therefore, in order for Dow to understand their market position, a market mapping of the architectural coating industry in the United Arab Emirates must be carried out, but to the extent of chemistry-wise, which is binders and additives. Also, while mapping the competitive landscape of UAE, the purpose of this project explores the sustainability impact in the architectural coating industry in the United Arab Emirates. Okay. Background, opportunities and challenges. So here, the main benefit of this project is to understand the binder and additive market size and the competitive landscape in the architectural coating industry here in the United Arab Emirates. Dow is concerned about their market position within this market, and they need to identify gaps and opportunities to grow in the United Arab Emirates. Once the market size, competitors and market share for chemistry is retrieved, Dow will then focus on a strategy to push to the market a defined set of products for a defined set of customers. Also, understanding the barriers and enablers of sustainability and its impact in the paint industry is important. It will help us understand what drives sustainability, how sustainability influences the paint industry in the market, why the trends in the paint market. The current challenge faced by Dow is the lack of credible and consistent intelligence reports in the United Arab Emirates. These challenges would be overcome through this consultancy report, where adequate information has been collated based on qualitative research. Also, the challenge of limited access to customer data has been resolved through the use of semi-structured interview processes, which will now be discussed in the next slide. So, methodology. My primary method of research was through a semi-structured in-person interview and through on-call interviews. The reason I opted for in-person interviews is that they are a far more personal form of research than questionnaires or surveys. In the personal interviews, I was able to directly work with the interviewee. I had the ability to ask follow-up questions while at the same time build a rapport with the client, which is not the case in terms of surveys and questionnaires. In-person interviews or on-call interviews were generally, easier for my clients. It was much easier, definitely. Semi-structured interviews offer a way for me to ask a follow-up question, to these interviewees, while at the same time maintain a basic interview structure. It is basically a guideline or a guided conversation between myself and the interviewee, with a bit of flexibility in terms of questions being asked. The only disadvantage that I feel or that I see in this form of interview process is that the interviewee might question the reliability factor due to the flexibility of the interview process. Now, as you can see, I have carried out a bunch of interviews, and the average in-person interview length was around 45 minutes, while the average on-call interview length was around 25 minutes. As for my sample selection, I covered majority of the architectural coating paint companies here in the United Emirates, and my interviewees were primarily the purchase and production managers of these companies. Contacts were obtained from the parent company that I'm currently working with, since they are a chemical trading company and they do have contacts with various paint companies. Because of this, I was able to contact them, provide a brief background of my project. I was able to set meetings with them. We talked about my results and findings right now. So the first round of interviews are primarily revolved on mapping the architectural paint market in the United Arab Emirates. Questions such as what is the total market share of the architectural coating paints in the UAE, or who are the major players in the architectural coating market, or what is the percentage consumption of binders and additives in their formulations, were some of the questions asked during the interviews. After interviewing the purchase and production managers of these paint companies, I noticed a trend in our conversations. It was a shift of paint towards sustainable paints. So I probed into that theme a bit more, towards sustainability. And I found out that there is a market shift from solvent-borne paints to water-borne paints. Solvent-borne paints are nothing but paints where the base is just pure solvent. While in terms of water-borne paints, the paint's base is made up of water. Solvent-borne paints emit a lot of VOC, which is actually volatile organic compounds, in short, and it is harmful for the environment. Water-borne paints are the future. It is highly sought after by the market due to the fact that technology of water-borne paints is getting better and better and is improving. The price of water-borne paints is becoming less due to the R&D which has been inculcated by the MNCs. And in terms of smell, the smell of water-borne paints is far less in comparison to solvent-borne paints, because solvent-borne paints emit a lot of VOC, which is very harmful for the environment. Another factor where water-borne paints is better than solvent-borne is due to the handling and storage. Water-borne paints must be stored in plastic pails, while solvent-borne paints are stored in metal. This makes things easier for the painters and for the end consumer, since plastic is easier to handle than metal pails. Based on the interviews conducted, it is understood that UAE plays an active role promoting sustainable paints. The ESMA, which is the Emirates Authority for Standardization in Metrology, and DCL, the Biocentral Laboratory, are the regulatory bodies for VOC, which is volatile organic compounds. And they control this VOC emission, and this showcases the shift towards a sustainable future. Also, the improvement in R&D and technology provide raw materials and paints with low VOC content are some of the enablers to sustainability. But in terms of barriers to sustainability, there is a lack of consumer knowledge. This is what I feel. This is because paint companies are eager to promote waterborne paints to the market, but not every waterborne paints are eco-friendly or sustainable or green, which leads me to my conclusion. Now, based on my report, I recommend that The consumer awareness campaigns must be carried out, in order to educate the paint industry on the effects of waterborne paints. And from the primary research conducted in mapping the architectural coating landscape, there is a scope of growth in pushing the market for a defined set of products. Thank you very much.